Rolling. Okay. So I'll sit here.
Okay, I'm looking at you, right?
You
Yeah.
can just look at me.
Okay. Oh, you get notes, very official notes, I can see.
Yes. Do you have a pen? Yes.
I do.
Sorry,
Also.
I got one. I just wanted to make sure I got everything.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, mine is constantly changing. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, it's sunny suddenly.
Sunny,
That's
sunny.
Paris.
Yeah, it's like you get 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a woman, really unpredictable.
Yeah, exactly. Paris is a woman. A French woman.
So my friend, she was on she's from Paris, Parisian, and then we were talking on the subway, and she was telling us, oh yeah, like Parisians are really cranky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
really
are.
moody. And then there was a woman. She turned over. What do you say? What do you say? You say we're cranky? You say we're cranky? We're not cranky. Where are you from? Just made our point.
Of course. Yeah. Today there's not so many Parisians in Paris, only tourists. Today is the day for tourists. August the 15th is a holiday in France, and everyone from Paris is in Brittany or in the south of France. Everyone here is not French, that's for sure, except for me, maybe.
Well, you have to give the best.
Yeah, I have to represent
you-
my country.
People like you know, like make Paris better.
I don't know. You didn't see me in my car, obviously, because in my car I'm very much Parisian. Yeah, get out, go away, go slower, go. Yeah.
You'll do really well in Los Angeles. I think they might be afraid of you.
Maybe.
There's the old big American cars, and then sometimes you just wish you had a small one.
Yeah, but yeah, your cars are too big. Yeah, they're too big.
They're too big, way too big. It's like
Yeah.
driving these huge
Yeah.
cars. And then
Impossible to park, and way much more too much expensive to
Yeah.
park in LA. I remember a place near Venice Beach.
oh, you've been.
It
oh,
was
you've been
yeah,
yeah, that's right.
and it was $2 per quarter of an hour.
yeah, is that considered very expensive?
Yeah, it's very expensive. It's more expensive than Paris.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is kind of considered okay.
Oh yeah, really?
in Los
Plus your I don't know what's the how we call them in English, but you know the thing in which you put the money.
Oh, the meters.
Yeah, they are very weird because they do some kind of light, and when you're out of money, it goes red or something
Yeah, it
like
goes-
that, and
yeah.
the police just has to come. Here, it's not like that.
Oh, so they're like patrols around. So when they're driving around, they just look in the lights. If it's red,
Yeah,
they stop.
yeah. So it's much more easier to get a fine
Oh, it's
in
very easy
LA.
to get a fine.
Yeah.
They get at least 4 millions of fine per year just for parking
Yeah.
around in LA.
Yeah.
My friends, they get that all, especially the Arabs.
Yeah.
My Arab friends, they are always getting tickets. They don't understand why, because they are used to just parking.
Yeah.
Just parking wherever they wanted, and they've been getting tickets.
Yeah, it's weird for them to have to pay for parking.
Why do you have to pay for
Yeah.
that? And they refuse to pay for it, and it gets more
Yeah.
expensive and more expensive.
Of course.
It's really funny, but
Yeah.
so it's hard to park in Paris.
Yeah, it is. You have to be very clever, very patient, and sometimes you have to go around the laws. You know.
Well, send me Los Angeles. I've learned how to con the system.
Yeah.
So tell me about yourself. Who are you, and then where you're from? Something basic.
Okay, with my name and all that.
Yeah. With your name. Yeah.
So my first name is Cécile. In French, we say Cécile, and my family name is Guillemain. I'm 31 years old, and I live in the suburbs of Paris, in a city named Cergy-Pontoise. It's not very famous for foreigners, because it's not very pretty. But I love my city. I'm an English teacher and a jazz singer. I've been singing for ever. As long as I can remember, I've been singing. thanks to my parents, who are a big music fans, and especially my dad, who always puts on music in the living room. So I remember my childhood with a lot of music all the time, and more particularly jazz music. I'm married, as I said, to a wonderful man. His name is Romain. We've been together for 7 years, and we live together. We've just bought a house last week. Yeah. So we're very happy. I got a cat. She's my love. Its name is Cookie, and she's very big, and she's always hungry. That's what can define my cat. She's always hungry. I come from a big family. I got 3 brothers and 1 sister. My sister is like my twin, except that she is small and most of the time very angry. I don't know why. I love her very much. My 3 brothers are very different. I love them very much too. What can I tell you about me? I play the piano. I went to a music school trying to learn the saxophone, but I'm not so good at it, so I dropped out of this at the age of 15, and I concentrated on singing. I was very lucky to meet a lot of people who wanted to play along with me. As soon as when I was 14, I started to sing for shows, and I started to earn money. So it was kind of magical for me that people would pay to listen to me. It was very cool, and it goes on and on since, so it's great. What else can I tell you? Well, that's it.
So, how did you tell me about your band? What's the name of the band? Do you know the name?
Yeah, the name of the band is Belle Époque, chanson swing. Belle Époque in English means nice times. It corresponds to a historical period, actually, that we had in France at the end of the 19th century, when the country was still quite powerful before World War I, and quite rich too. It was La Belle Époque. Many painters and artists used to come to Paris from all around the world. Americans too, writers more particularly, and Englishmen too. And we chose this name because we like our time. We chose to be optimistic people, so we would like to defend our times. You want me to talk about maybe my partners in the band?
So I think first we start from you. Can you tell me the story, the journey of how you started how you started to do a lot of music, how you started to become an artist or a singer, songwriter?
Yeah, so well, I started to sing when I was 2, when I started to talk. So it's very easy to know when I started to sing. Like most singers, actually, because if you ask a singer when they started to sing, they will tell you, "I've always been singing." That's obvious. When you like singing, you start when you try to talk, and then you never stop. And as I said before, when I was 14, I started to meet musicians who wanted to play with me. They said, "Oh, you have a nice voice. We should form a band." And I started with my first bands when I was 14 and 15, rhythm and blues and rock music. But I always wanted to sing jazz, so I was waiting for the true opportunity. And when I was 18, I met this boy who became my first love, and he was a gypsy jazz guitar player, and he opened this whole new world for me of jazz and gypsy jazz, and we started a band which became quite famous. And for 4, maybe almost 5 years, we played together, and that's when I realized that was the only music I wanted to do, and I wanted to sing. It was jazz. And when he left me on my birthday, wow, I lost everything at the same time. I lost the band, I lost the love, the first love, and the apartment, and the car, and the cat, and the TV and the whole package. And of course I was devastated, and I thought I would stop music at that moment. I was quite, it was too difficult for me to continue. And then, after crying for 2 months, I called a friend who used to play the saxophone with us in this band. And he said, "Come, I have my other band playing in Paris. You should come and see us. That will be cool. We play jazz. You will like it. It will be good for your mood, etc." So I went. And as I told you the other day, I sat at the bar. I arrived at the bar, I sat, and I met a tall, blonde, middle-aged, handsome guy who turned towards me and said, "Hi, my name is Luc. What's your name?" I said, "Hi, my name is Cecile." And Luc became the new guitar player of my life. And that's the one I play with in Belle Époque now, Luc. And so that's how it went. I joined their band very quickly, and we played together for 5 years. The band was called Les Démagos. It's impossible to translate in English, so maybe I will try to explain it to you one day. And we played a lot of music in Paris, jazz music in Paris for a few years. And then this band stopped for different professional reasons. Some of the musicians wanted to stop it, so we stopped. And then I thought I should write my own songs. I should write my own things to find my own way in jazz music. Instead of saying other people's words, I wanted to sing mine. So I called Luc again, and I said, "How do you feel about writing music for me? Because I have some lyrics and I would like you to put music on them." And he said, "Yeah, let's do this." And that's how it started 3 years ago. We started writing a whole new list of very personal songs, and we became Belle Époque. That's it.
What about the guy who plays
the double bass? His name is Rémi. He is a bass teacher in Paris, and actually he's a friend of one of Luc's teachers. When Luc studied the guitar, he had this very, very important teacher in his life. His name is Stéphane, and Rémi is a friend of Stéphane. And when we were looking for musicians, Luc said, "Oh, I know someone who could be good with us. His name is Rémi. We should meet him." And it was great immediately with him. He's a great musician and he's a great friend.
So, can you tell me more about Rémi?
Rémi?
Rémi, yeah.
Well, Rémi is a very mysterious man. I don't know exactly his age. He must be around 50, 55, I don't know. I would say 55. He has got one son, and he's been playing the double bass for as long as he can remember. He's a true musician. His double bass, he's basically his wife. He's not really interested in love affairs or things like that. His love affair is music. And he does not like to talk about himself. Every time you try to know something about him, he makes a joke and, go around the truth.
Very mysterious.
Yeah, very mysterious.
How about Luc?
Oh, Luc is very, very special too. He has 5 personalities gathered into one man. He's very, very calm and nice and very honest, which can be sometimes hurtful because he says things very directly, and sometimes he's too honest for me. It hurts. He says, "It's not like that, it's like that. You should do this, you should not do that. No, it's ugly. No, don't do that. No, shut your mouth, you talk too much," And, but he's also someone who listens a lot. And when we write songs together, all I have to say is, "I imagine something like this, something like that." and he gets it. He's he's very listening man. Yeah, listening, does it exist?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Listens.
Yeah.
So, why did you choose jazz, swing?
I'm not sure I chose jazz. I think jazz chose me. When I was young, 2 or 3 years old, I saw a saxophone for the first time, and I fell in love with the instrument. And the saxophone symbolizes jazz music, I guess. So when I told my parents that I wanted to play the saxophone, they told me I had to wait because I was too young and too small to, carry it. But meanwhile, I could listen to saxophone, and that's when I discovered all these amazing saxophone players, and also trumpet players. I'm a big fan of Chet Baker. And I think it was obvious for me that this was the music I was going to sing. It was different and old-fashioned, I like old-fashioned music. And it was spiritual at the same time. I don't know, I think it chose me. It was obvious for me it would be jazz and nothing else.
Give me a second.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
So, what is it like to work with a band, this band? Or generally, what was your experience working with, let's say, First Love, and then you had another band with Luke?
Yeah, and then another one with Luke again.
Luke again, and
Yes.
can you tell me something about that experience, what it feels like, different, or you can compare them?
Yeah, it's possible to compare them, but when you get to compare them, you realize that there are many common points. We always laugh a lot when we work. It's not a very serious business, music. It shouldn't be a serious business, actually, I think. We laugh a lot. Well, I laugh a lot, and they try to focus me on the work. The difference with Luke compared to my first band is the fact that I'm not in love with the guitar player. So all the personal business is cast aside. With my first band, we had some fights because we knew each other too well, and it's not a good idea to have a band with your lover. It's not a good idea. You should not mix love and music. It's a very, very bad idea. So with Luke, it's more quieter, more quiet. When we are together, we can play music for hours without even realizing that we've been playing. So it's sometimes it's some sort of trance. We're together and we know each other so well that we don't have to talk, we just have to play. We can say many, many things through looks and through choices of notes, and it's a form of a very, very precise communication when we play together. Well, that's it. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm. So, tell me about your own music. So you told me that you started singing other people's songs.
Yeah.
And then you decided one day maybe you should make your own.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that? How? What kind of transformation was there? A transformation that pushed you to start doing that, and inspiration?
Well, it was quite progressive. When I was a teenager, I used to write songs in English about, depression and death. And, when you're a teenager, you're always sad and angry and you don't know why. So you write songs because you're very angry at life and at your parents, and you talk about death very easily when you're 14. I don't know why. And I wrote songs about love, which I didn't know anything about. And then I stopped. I used to write in English because it was easier for me to, I don't know why, it sounded better in my head in English. And I was too shy to write in French because The French language has this, I don't know, honesty, and it's a very precise language and a very direct, and it's very difficult to write in French. I think, in my point of view, that it's more difficult to write in French. And I used to love very famous, great songwriters, and I was too shy to do what they did. It was too difficult for me to do that. And so progressively I started to write in French, but from time to time I tried and I realized that I could do it. And so when Les Démagos, when it stopped, the second band, when it stopped, a friend of mine told me, you should do something of your own. And I thought maybe it's the time for me to take my pencil and start writing my things. So this is when I realized I could be a writer, when he told me, you should do it. I needed someone to tell me you should do it.
So I'm curious, you were saying that you shouldn't mix love with music because it gets too complicated in the band, right?
Yeah.
But also, I think a lot of elements in your songs, maybe a lot of French songs, I don't know, but the French songs I know,
Yeah.
it's always revolved around love.
Yeah. Writing and creation are not a problem. They are very compatible with love. It's working as a band, which can be a problem, because you have to tell things to your partners. You have to, you spend a lot of time together, and it's good to have your husband home or doing his stuff, because he's a musician too, so he's playing his own music on the side. And sharing this with other people so that you have things to tell to your husband when you go home. Yeah, it's good like that. I wouldn't like to play with my husband. As much as I love him, I prefer to do this. It's just me.
So can you tell me a little bit more about your first band? Because I think that was how you actually started to get into bands, get into teamwork, and then that was also your first love. Did that kind of affect your music in some ways, or how did it start? Can you tell me more about that then?
Well, when I met this boy, I had never been in love before. So when I met him, it was immediate, and it was obvious. It's like jazz. When I met this boy, I was young and had no experience in anything. And the first time I saw him, it was a year before we got together. The first time I saw him, I said, wow, who's this guy? He's so cute and stuff. He's so mysterious. I'm sure he's a very good guitar player. I imagine I fantasized everything about him. And when I met him properly a year later, he asked me to sing on his album. And I realized that he was everything I was hoping for, as a young girl, of course. And I don't know, he led me to his world, into his world, very simply. And it's very difficult to explain. The love and the music, got in the same, I don't know how to explain. It was, we did everything together. It was a fusional love. It exists, this expression in English, fusional, yeah. We never got separated except for 3 days when he got into the hospital once, but we were always together. So I don't know. I don't know how to explain. It was so simple and so obvious that I realized that I wanted to love him for the rest of my life, and I wanted to do jazz for the rest of my life. And of course, I was wrong. Of course, I was too young.
One thing, can you adjust that a little bit? Maybe turn it. Yes. It's a lot better.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. And then, so you were telling me that you went through a terrible heartbreak.
Yeah.
Was that this one or the other?
This one, yeah. There is only one in my history, and that's this one, yeah.
The one. And you were telling me how music was a power that transformed and healed you.
Yeah, well, not at first. As I said, at first I wanted to stop. It was too painful. We had been writing songs together for some time. We had been singing together for some time, and we were planning on getting married and having kids. We were choosing the names of our kids. We were 23. It was way too soon. And planning our whole life. And suddenly he fell in love with someone else, a blonde-haired girl. I hate blonde-haired girls, I have to tell you. And he fell desperately in love with this woman, and he left me. And I had no anger about that. I could not be angry at him. He was very nice boy, and he just fell in love with someone else. I couldn't be angry, but I could be sad, and I was very sad. So I had to cry a lot to get over that. It took a month to stop crying every day. And I didn't want to sing anymore. I was in my bedroom. I was watching the series Friends. You know Friends? It helped a lot. Yes, because it was funny and very, candid. It was very easy to watch that. So thanks to Friends, I started to go better, and my real friends, of course. I went to Ireland. I went to several trips very soon. I wanted to see the world by myself. I got tattooed. This was very important for me. I wanted a tattoo to remember who I was without him. And then I wanted to sing again to prove that I could be a singer without him. And when I started writing, a few years later, it helped a lot to have gone through that, to have been gone through that, because it was a great source of inspiration. All the suffering and the real suicidal tendencies there were at few moments, and all the beauty of the recovery, and the presence of friends and family, and the meeting of Romain, the new and real love this time, and real mature and more concrete love. And all this helped a lot when I started writing. The first song I wrote is called La Lettre, the letter. And it's actually a letter. It's a song about a letter it's the letter who tells the story, which tells the story. And it's a letter of breakup. And the letter is speaking in the song, and it explains how it is difficult for it to be the witness and the accomplice of such a crime as to break someone's heart. And this was the first text I wrote about how it is difficult to break up with someone, I think, and how it was difficult for him to break up with me. And then I continued, and I realized that all my songs talked about me. I wrote about, we have a fairy tale in French. It's the equivalent of Tom Thumb, I think. In French, it's Le Petit Poucet. Tom Thumb must be the equivalent. And it's about the brother of Tom Thumb that no one talks about, never, in the tale, who is always sleeping in some place while his brother is living the adventure, is living the life. I realized this was about me too, because with all my brothers and sisters, I was always the one who just followed and didn't make any choices. And it continued, so on and so forth. All the songs really talked about me, and I realized this afterwards. But the one song that I wrote, which was really about the breakup, is called Dis-moi-que-tu-M'aimes. It means tell me that you love me. And it's a song about a woman who's realizing that the man she loves is leaving her for another woman. And she asks him to love her still and more, until he dies, until he gets a nervous breakdown, or she has this passionate and cruel and hurtful desire for love. And this is the song that goes the closest to what I felt the day he broke up with me. It's terrible to be left. Terrible.
I really feel what you were talking about the TV show Friends.
Yeah.
Because when I first, I had experience when I was 19 and traveled in Australia for 1 year, and I turned 20 in Australia. So my ex-girlfriend during that time, she cheated on me for half a year. In the beginning, I kind of sort of felt something was wrong. And I knew she was doing that, but I always thought, she didn't know what's the right thing to do. I trust her. I would ask her, do you do this and this and this and that, because someone already told me. But I didn't tell her that someone told me, but she wouldn't deny it. I was okay, and I believed you. And then just like what you were saying, I was young, and I was thinking, I was gonna marry her, and then started planning all the weddings, picking the colors, picking all the colors. We like purple. No, that's too purple. And then kind of flowers.
Yeah, you create your own problems.
Yeah,
create your own things.
Okay, who should be the one that pronounced? So yeah, we had a teacher, and then he was a missionary from America. He's a pastor, so we were really close. So he would be the one doing the entire ceremony, and then where we should go. We're gonna rent like a mansion.
Yeah. You picture everything.
Everything, and then start naming. Well, we want first kid should be girl. No,
Exactly.
Boy, so the boy could take care of the girl.
And you're 20. You don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I think she was my high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
And she cheated on me in the very beginning. So we were together for 3.5 years. I think you were with your ex-woman for even longer period of time. Like
4.5 maybe.
Yeah. It was a long relationship. I was heartbroken. In the beginning, I was in denial until I knew she actually got together with that guy.
Yeah.
She promised, so no, I'm not gonna ever, be with that guy. So okay, I trust you. Anyways, and then so I started watching How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
That helped a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm always imagining, I'm Ted.
Yeah.
So Ted is always going. Did you want How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, of course. You're not going to spoil me. I saw every episode.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I've always imagined Ted. So Ted is always going through all sorts of heartbreak.
He's not good at love.
He's
not good at all. I prefer Marshall.
I wish I was Marshall.
Yeah, of course.
In the beginning, I thought, so I'm Ted, and then I was going through this journey with Ted. So he's like a hopeless romantic, and then I was always like that. I would imagine, and then that helped me a lot.
Yeah, it helps.
It helped me a lot.
Yeah,
There
surprisingly.
were times I was suicidal. I went through like a really dark.
Yeah,
dark
of course,
time.
It's terrible.
You thought the world was gonna end. It's like, there's no way I can recover from this. But slowly. I did a lot of photography. That's how I got into film school.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that was something close to music to you.
Yeah, of
That
course.
was the only thing I could do, and that was the only thing I could do alone.
Yeah, and help you remember who you are.
Yes, I was trying to tell stories through photography.
Yeah.
And that actually got me to take off. I started realizing, hey, I'm not bad at this. And then slowly it turned into something else and something bigger. But I never realized it could be something that powerful for me.
Yeah, in the case of a heartbreak, ego is very important because basically the one who breaks your heart takes your ego and tramps on it. Very hard. And so it's very important to remember who you are by yourself and to get some success of your own. It's very important through photography or through singing or through pottery or I don't know, anything that can make you feel good. My sister, she cooks, when she feels bad, she cooks and she cleans. That's how she feels better. When I feel bad, I sing. I have a memory actually. I got lost one day when I was 13. I got lost in a bike ride, and I started crying when I realized I was lost in the mountains by myself. And at one moment I started singing, but I'm alone, so I could as well, enjoy the moment. And I felt better instantly, immediately, as soon as I started singing. It's weird. I'm never tired when I sing. I'm never angry when I sing. I'm never sad. I don't know.
So can you tell me more about, more deeply into music as a healing power? How did it guide you? How, maybe even some little stories like you were lost in the mountains and you started singing, but something like that, how it actually helped you, and then how it slowly accompanied you through the journey?
Yeah, actually, well, it accompanies me every day. There's not one moment when I started to feel better thanks to music. It's not that obvious. It was more like every time I sing this song, Dis-moi-que-tu-M'aimes, I relive my breakup. It's very painful, and every time I stop singing it, I relieve my recovery. Each time. It's very, very painful for me to sing it. You will see if you stay, I will sing it again. And each time, every day, I'm on the verge of crying because I remember this room that day, and I remember that it was like a nightmare. I did not understand what was going on, and when I sing this song, I remember exactly the smells and the light and what I felt. I thought I was going to die. And when I stop singing it, I go like this. And then I remember that I'm in love, that I'm happy, much happier than I used to be, actually, even with him when I was in love and when we were in love. And that I moved on. So every time I sing it, it's a recovery, actually. Writing it was probably the healing process. Succeeding in putting these words on paper was a form of, it took courage for me to say these things, to admit that I was desperate for love and that I would have done everything to keep him. And now singing it also takes courage, but it's part of the healing process. And I think I will be sad every time till the end of my life singing this song, and I will be very happy every time at the end of this song. So I will continue singing it. Plus, it's very beautiful.
I get that. As couples, you always have your songs, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Similar thing for me. Every time when I hear that one or two songs, like memories come back and you realize, oh, it was when and where you guys heard this song.
Yeah.
And then why you guys started singing this song together. Remember the smell.
Yeah.
Remember the lines. Just little tiny things that actually comes in and destroys you.
Yeah, it does not even have to be a good song. It can be a very bad song, and it's always good to hear it.
Yeah. So.
Here they are.
Hey, bonjour.
Salut. C'est marrant, voilà.
Salut. Tu vas bien? Pretty good, thank you. It's Sonia. Hello. We were just talking.
Yeah, okay. C'est à quelle lunette?
Oh, you're starting at 6?
Yeah.
Wrap up real quick.
It's okay, it's okay.
Oh, thank you. So can you tell me about writing lyrics? You were saying that was more of a healing process.
Yeah, the creation part.
Mm-hmm.
The creation part is the most, because it's the most important one, because it's the moment when you put words on your feelings, and you have to choose the correct words, and you have to choose the correct feeling that goes with the words. When I write, it's always very different from one song to the other song. Sometimes it goes like this, I just have the words, and sometimes it's very long and it takes a lot of work and a lot of rereading and rewriting and dictionaries and research, and I'm not happy and I put it away and I rewrite from the top, and it's always very different. In the case of Dis-moi-que-tu-M'aimes, it was completely obvious. It was very natural to write it. In the case of J'aime pas les gens, also, this song is about hatred. It means I don't like people in general. And in the song, I talk about young people, old people, and blonde girls that, as you know, I hate. It's a joke, of course, I don't hate blonde girls. Well, not all of them.
But most of them.
And of course, this one was inspired by the woman he left me for. And it's very, very joyful for me to sing it. Because every time I sing, I hate blonde girls. And when I wrote it, it was finally my time to be a little angry. Because I never got angry with the breakup. And it was my moment to be angry and to say mean and useless things like I hate blonde girls because, you know, you're too cute and too blonde and too blue-eyed and too... I don't like blonde girls. No. Yeah. I hate those girls. They like the men that are with me. It's not normal. Well.
Can you tell me one song that could probably really represent that emotion that you were going through? One song that you wrote.
When my heart was broken,
Yeah.
Apart from Dis-moi-que-tu-M'aimes, apart from this one.
Yeah. Or you can talk about Dis-moi-que-tu-M'aimes. Like, tell me more stories about that song.
Well, this song, yeah, this is the most special one for me because this is the one that goes, as I said, the closest to what I felt the day I was heartbroken, on the day of my birthday, 23rd birthday, very classy. This is the closest one, and at the same time, it's kind of a caricature. Also, it's a little exaggerated, but not that much. Well, it depends. Sometimes I think it's exaggerated, and sometimes I think it's very truthful. I don't know. It's the story of a woman who goes crazy. So it's not always nice to think of yourself as a crazy person. She goes crazy and she says, tell me that you love me, buy me jewels, recite poems, forget about your name, forget about who you are, and just love me forever until you die, and die for me and suffer for me. And that's what she says in her song. She's completely crazy, this woman, but that's what a woman thinks when she feels that the man that she loves is going away. She wants him, and she can't bear the fact that he stops loving her. And I couldn't bear the fact that he could stop loving me. It was too painful, so I went a little crazy, I think. And that is, what can I tell you about this song? It's inspired by Romeo and Juliet. I'm a big fan of Shakespeare, of course. I'm an English teacher. And the love that we have in Romeo and Juliet is the crazy type of love. I don't know if you know the song by Etta James, I Want a Sunday Kind of Love. No? This song is about a woman who wants a Sunday kind of love, a calm and peaceful kind of love. This is the kind of love I want now and I have now. But in Shakespeare, it's not a Sunday kind of love. It's a Saturday night, drunk kind of love we have in Shakespeare. So this is what the song is about. A crazy type of love, a limitless type of love that you can feel when you are 23, not when you are 31. I want a Sunday kind of love.
With a
with a cat, a hungry cat.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So one last question.
Go
I
ahead.
know you probably have to go.
Yeah, I may have to sing at one moment.
Yeah. There are a lot of people going through heartbreaks, and then
Yeah.
it's very hard to recover from like terrible heartbreak, like what you went through. It's kind of common actually.
Yeah.
So, but you actually went through that, and you manifested that grief into something really powerful, and you can influence others. So, what would you recommend? What would we tell these people that are heartbroken, no matter from what kind of heartbreak? Could be a love loss, could be a parental loss, could be loss of a family,
Yeah.
loss of a home, anything like that. What would you tell them?
It's very difficult to give advice to someone who's hurting, because when you are hurt, you can't hear anything but your pain. But I would say don't get angry. Anger is very destructive. When someone dies or when someone leaves you, it's useless to get angry because life is as it is. Get sad. You should get sad when sad things happen. It's very important to cry and to be by yourself, because sometimes you have to be alone. This is part of the recovery, to admit that you have problems of your own and you have to deal with them, and you have to deal with your sadness, and you have to deal with your own